Everyone, this looks a little different because my camera app on my computer isn't working, so I've had to put my phone up on here to film. But I got two new envelopes here from eBay. Let's not wait any longer. Let's see what's inside. First up, we got one here from Newtown, Pennsylvania. As you can see, we got the do not bend sticker, so you know this is a banknote in here. Nothing in the envelope. Alright, we got cardboard. Inside the cardboard is the banknote. Now I'm gonna have to take the cardboard open to get it out. Oh, this one came in a sleeve, nice. Oh, there's actually two in here. Alright, so here they are. Let me move all my trash out of the way before I get into the details. Alright, so I'm going to take them out since he put two in one. But we got new banknotes here, and these are countries I haven't had before. Alright, first we got 500 francs from Rwanda. As you can see, it's in French and the native language, and it's also a franc, because Rwanda used to be a Belgian colony, and as you can see here, we got a little school scene, very nice, and a little suspension bridge. Now for the next one is 10 Imalanjeni, I think that's how it's pronounced, from Swaziland, also known as Eswatini in the local Swazi language. And as we can see, we got the Swazi monarch on the front. Swaziland is unique in modern politics for still being a hereditary monarchy. That's not constitutional, at least not to my knowledge last time I checked. And as you can see on the front here, we got the monarch. And on the back, we got a little dance group. Very neat. Interestingly, I don't see a lot of the native language on here. Although Swaziland is right next to South Africa, and that region is pretty linguistically diverse, so maybe it's better to split English as a lingua franca between the different languages. Now the next envelope here is from Burlington, Iowa. I don't think I've ever gotten anything from Iowa before. I've gotten a lot of stuff from Pennsylvania. I say that as if Iowa and Pennsylvania are anywhere near each other. Also, the fact that Iowa has far fewer residents, it's a very rural state. Gotta keep all the trash together. Get these banknotes back, actually. And inside is, ooh, and also it's in another sleeve, good. Oh, neat. 5 pounds from Samoa. So as you can see, we got the English language, the Samoan language, and the Samoan flag. As well as a little scene here with all the palm trees. Now, interestingly, Samoa uses pounds not because they were a British colony, but they are actually a territory of New Zealand. So you could say they were a British colony by extension, but Britain actually didn't have any governmental control over Samoa, historically. Also, interesting coincidence, this type of sleeve, I got a bunch of these types of sleeves. I was going to use them for putting the banknotes in the pages, but the sleeves didn't really work very well, so now I just kind of use them as like stuff to put spares in, and also for like transporting them around. Now, on a more technical note, the banknote does refer to Samoa as Western Samoa, which is a term I've often seen used because the eastern half of the Samoan Islands are under American rule as American Samoa. Now, personally, I simply refer to Western Samoa as Samoa. As American Samoa, I usually don't see referred to as Eastern Samoa, so I don't really see why Samoa would be referred to as Western Samoa. But that's just my opinion.
Now, those three countries, those are new additions to my collection. I did previously not have any banknotes from Samoa, Rwanda, or Swaziland, aka Eswatini. Now, I did see a Samoan banknote once. Unfortunately, I did not purchase it at the time, and the Samoan banknotes aren't all that rare, but it's not really common to see them floating around here. Now, to give a little overview of all three of the banknotes, let's start with the oldest one, with 10 Amalajeni, as part of the Vision 2022 commemorative series of 2015 from Swaziland. And it shows the King Maswati III. It's commemorative from 2015. I'm not exactly sure what Vision 2022 was. It's got a watermark, also the king. The monarchy in Swaziland is very important. As you can see, pretty common. The 500 francs from Rwanda, 2019, issued by the National Bank of Rwanda. Now I need to correct myself here. I think I said this had French on it. I have no idea why I said that, because that's clearly not French. That's clearly the Rwanda native language. I think it's called Kinyarwanda. I could be misremembering on that. It's from 2019, like I said. And we got the coat of arms as a watermark. And not uncommon. Not uncommon either. Lastly, we have this one from Samoa. Now, interestingly, the Samoan pound was used from 1914, when Samoa came under New Zealand rule, to 1967. However, this is actually a reprint series from 2020, which interestingly is a standard circulation note. So it appears that they did revive the pound for this reissue series in 2020. As we can see here, the modern reprints are differentiated for the use of a prefix letter. The original did not have a prefix letter when made in 1963. Now, it's worth noting that none of them are dated, so it's easy to see why someone could confuse an uncirculated 1963 note or a 2020 note for each other, because they are identical. And the signature belongs to N.O. Maitland. Not sure who he is, but I'm guessing he was an official in Samoa, although his surname suggests he was not of Samoan ethnicity. And interestingly, Samoa has a bit of a complicated history. See, since Samoa is using a pound, you might suspect that they're a British colony. However, technically they weren't a British colony. You see, in 1914, Samoa came under the rule of New Zealand. Now, originally, Samoa, as well as the Mariana Islands, were colonies of Germany. Germany had colonies in Africa and the Pacific, as well as New Guinea. Part of what is now Papua New Guinea was a German colony. And as a result of Germany losing World War I, they lost their colonies as well. Also, I should note Namibia was a German colony. German is actually still spoken in Namibia to an extent. And what happened is Samoa was split between the U.S. for what is now American Samoa. America also got, I believe they got Guam from the Germans as well. And later the Northern Marianas from Japan. And the British, I guess, decided to give it to New Zealand because it would be easier to manage through New Zealand, since New Zealand was a closer Britain-aligned entity than Britain was. Now, it looks like I have to slightly correct myself here. It turns out American Samoa predates New Zealand taking German Samoa. American Samoa actually joined the U.S. as a U.S. territory in 1900, a couple of years before World War I, because the local chiefs in Tutuila, which is the largest island in American Samoa, ceded the island to the United States, followed by Manua in 1904. Now it's easy to see where the mistake would come from, as it looks as if the islands were divided at a single time if you don't really know the history. But I just thought I wanted to clarify this because I wanted to check to make sure, and it turns out I was slightly wrong. Another thing to note is the monarchy of Swaziland. Now, Swaziland is unique as it's one of the last absolute monarchies remaining to this day. Mswati III, as was seen on the banknote, is still the monarch of Swaziland, and there are few absolute monarchies remaining in the world, Swaziland being the last one within Africa. And I just thought that would be interesting to note, since almost all monarchies, like the British one, they're constitutional now. They technically do have a government position, but it's more ceremonial now. Mswati III is an absolute monarch. As you can see here, he has veto power over all branches of the government and is constitutionally immune from prosecution. So he still holds all of the real government power in Swaziland. Now, as we can see here, Vision 2022 Swaziland, which is the reason the Swaziland banknote was issued, was a plan for Swaziland that was to be achieved by 2022, as you can see here, as a national development strategy. And it appears that King Mswati III was very much involved in its planning, although I haven't seemed to find much other information about it, and I'm not exactly sure how successful the plan was. Also, another little bit of a mystery here is the Samoan pound banknote, because as we saw earlier, the Samoan pounds haven't been used since the 1960s, and the current currency of independent Samoa is the Samoan tala. However, this was issued by the Bank of Samoa and is a standard circulation banknote. Now, I'm theorizing that there's probably like a sort of like an exchange rate of sorts between the pound and the tala, so maybe they reissued the pound banknote knowing that people in Samoa would understand that it's worth a certain amount of tala. But that's just a theory, because I really can't seem to find any information about why this banknote was.
Now I also got this package in here from Amazon today, and let's see what's inside of here too, because I think this is also going to be related to my banknotes. Sorry if this section looks a little weird, I kind of got to hold it down here while I do this. They seal these really tight. So why are there like threads in this tape? It's so weird. So we got some paper. And, oh, nice. Oh, various things are in here. Alright. So first we got these 2-page sleeves that are technically usually used for photos, but I'm going to be using them for my larger banknotes, since I have a lot of those that don't really fit very well on the typical pages. And more sleeves, but they're all in these cardboard things in here from China, so I can't really... Well, actually, let me open one. Just for a show. If I can figure out how this tape works. Actually, I have a different idea. So as you can see, we are now in the banknote room, where I've now moved the binders, as well as the first new one, which has been very useful in reorganizing them and all. Here I'll demonstrate what the new sleeves will be doing. Now most of the new pages that I got in the cardboard are these free ones like this. I've already shown these on the channel before, as you can see. It's typical banknote size. These are my West African notes, for anyone wondering. And the reason why I got a 2 version, which you can see here, is because some of these banknotes are larger. Now this one down here would fit in a normal one, but this one up here would not. And the reason I put this one in here, even though it would fit in a normal one, is because I want to keep everything in chronological order. So we got this one here from 1968, 1975, and then 1977 to 1979, followed by 1983, and the last two fit nicely in a normal one. So I would have had to have used a normal one with leaving one of the pockets empty, but now I can just use the larger 2 pocket and keep everything nice like this. Now here is one of the new free pockets, and I ended up getting a different brand because the brand that I usually use wasn't selling there, so I couldn't reliably find them. So I just found these ones. Now these ones are kind of different because the edges have multiple dots. This is so they work in different types of binders. And the reason I have these ones is because some of the normal ones have to hold more little banknotes right now. So these are my Bangladeshi notes. And here we have 10 taka, but there's a 2 taka behind it. That one is from after the 10 taka, but I only have free pockets, so I have to put it in here with this one. Now that we got one of the new free pocket pages put in, everything is nicely organized. Now, as you can see, this one is slightly different and makes a little bit of a noise when you turn it, but it holds the banknotes fine. And also, interesting, this actually, you have to do this from the back side. It only opens on the back, which is fine because I can still get the stuff in there. I just thought that was unusual, worthy of note. Now, in order to know how many I would need, I decided to count them all up, and I got to a total of 34. So I got 4 sets of the free page and 1 set of the 2 page, because I think there's more than 10 in there. And I also put the country names, so I can just flip straight to those countries instead of having to try and remember where the notes are. So for example, I got my West African notes, my Bangladeshi note, my Bulgarian note. That was when I have more than one Bangladeshi and Bulgarian note. I just had one that had to be moved. Now I only had one French one that needed its own spot, but it was actually a French Knot Guild note, and I actually have 2 of them. So I decided to do what I did with Germany and give them their own page. Also, I do have a bunch of loose ones up here. I have like 16 of them. Now, just to show how the reorganizing's been going, all 4 of my Montenegrin notes, my 2 purpers, as well as the Austro-Hungarian purper and the overprinted Yugoslav note, are all in 2 pages. As you can see, they're older banknotes, so they're a little on the larger side, especially these ones here. This one's on the larger side, but this is definitely trending towards a more current shape. As you can see, they're all in the 2 pages. And I haven't had to use new free pages on all of them because a lot of old free pages I already had have been opening up from the reorganizing. So as you can see here, Morocco, my Moroccan francs, we have 1941, 43, and my free little ones from 1944, all nicely fitting in the same one. And you can see that's 1 free page. And then here is a pre-existing free page for the one from 1951. Now, as you can see here, a lot of my Imperial Russian banknotes are benefiting from these new pages. As you can see, they're much larger. And also, some of them are the other way around, as you can see. Now, I've decided to put them this way, because then if you go to the end of the page like this, you can see them like that. Same thing here on this next one. Now, since I moved the larger one to the 2 pages, free page nicely opened up just right, so that now it's all my Kopecks from 1915. I just really like these banknotes, so I just thought I'd give them a little shout out here. These are paper coinage from World War I. I just really like these. Also, this was my first Imperial Russian banknote ever, right here, the 51. Yeah, I just thought these were neat. Now, I should note that there are some banknotes in my collection that are not large enough to fit in the new 2 sleeve pages. This is one of my Serbian ones from 1941 when they were a German puppet state, and overprinted a Yugoslav note, and it is far too wide to fit. So I'm keeping it in the middle here with one on the bottom. Now another country that's worked out nicely here is Tunisia. So originally I had this large Tunisian franc from the French colonial period in the middle of a page, and the half dinar underneath it with this one on its own page. But now I have the colonial franc on its own page with room here if I get another one, because they tend to be larger. And I got the 2 dinars right next to each other.
Well, this video got to be a little longer than I expected to me, so I think I'm going to call it here. Like the video if you liked it. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts about the banknotes that I showed. I'd love to hear any thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to my channel if you like my videos, and thanks for watching.